1990 fantasy film Edward Scissorhands was a breakthrough role for actor Johnny Depp. For director Tim Burton, it was one in a series of highly creative productions that have marked his long career. Now some of Burton's most imaginative work isn't on screen. It can be seen in real life on objects of art and on display at a museum in Las Vegas.
You know, I kind of almost grew up here. I've been coming to Vegas since I was born.
Southern California native and Hollywood heavyweight Tim Burton has a love affair with the desert city of light. Not New Vegas, but the old one.
You know, I love the neon, the old signs and the beauty of them and the sort of artistry of them are very important to me and part of my sort of artistic development in a way.
And so the brains behind such films as Batman,
Beetlejuice,
It's showtime,
and The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, somewhere deep.
Through his artistic expression into the one place he says that still represents it, the boneyard of the city's abandoned landscape.
What you do on the inside, great, great, great.
In October, at the only museum in the nation dedicated to neon, Burton debuted his own artwork. An assortment of animatronic sculptures, holographic drawings, and signs of all sizes are mixed in with the permanent collection. If any of this looks familiar,
You want my watch?
think back to Danny DeVito's demise in Burton's cult classic, Mars Attacks. He directly nods to nostalgia by using the actual footage of the 1995 demolition of the landmark tower. You said that had a very distinct impression on you.
Yeah, it was like watching an ancient a dinosaur being killed or something. It's like after it happened, it was silent. Everybody couldn't speak. It was so kind of strangely powerful, sad, beautiful.
For more than 3 decades, Burton's films have ranged from delightfully dark
you're alive! I can't believe it! You're alive!
to weirdly whimsical, grossing more than $4 billion worldwide. You have Edward Scissorhands, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Frankenweenie, Alice in Wonderland. Should it surprise anybody that there's this side of you?
Well, no, because it kind of brings me back to where I started. You know, I've always liked to draw and make things,
Now are we ready to begin?
Burton's singular style was apparent early on. His short, Stonk of the Celery Monster, helped him land a job at Walt Disney Studios.
I had a room when I was an animator, and I saw from my room where I felt trapped like Rapunzel. I could see the hospital where I was born, and in Forest Lawn where all my family was buried, and I felt like I was in the Bermuda Triangle, this weird place of life and death.
Burbank existence.
Yes.
Fired after a few years, he found his footing directing Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Thanks for stopping.
That began a string of hits that made Burton a household name.
This exhibition is an immersive experience into the mind of Tim Burton.
Perhaps no one knows better than Ginny He, Burton's chief exhibition curator.
What he puts on screen or on a page or in a sculpture is identifiable for all of his fans. So there's really no disconnect between Tim and his viewer or Tim and his visitor because of that intense emotional connection that he imbues into his work.
His art has traveled the world, including a 700-piece collection that was viewed at New York's Museum of Modern Art, where it drew the 3rd largest crowd in MoMA's history, just behind Picasso and Matisse.
He drew more than 800,000 to MoMA. That is New York City, with a very sophisticated art audience. At the same time, Las Vegas draws 43 million tourists a year.
Hello. Neon Museum CEO Rob McCoy hopes Burton's appeal will draw more people here. What is your favorite Tim Burton piece?
It would have to be the signature sign, Las Vegas, and here's the reason why. We lost the Dunes sign, and as an homage to the Dunes, he created that wonderful outline of the old Dunes sign, and then just the icing on the cake, he put Stardust stars from the Stardust sign up through the middle of it. So in one fell swoop, he captured probably 2 of the most famous signs in the history of Las Vegas.
Jenny He says each bulb on that 40-foot sign was sanded and painted to look old.
Visitors are supposed to come in and think that this has been here for decades.
What does your artwork do for you?
It's like therapy.
We asked Burton specifically what some of those pieces mean. From the blue girl with wine. She's hot.
Yeah. You know, I spent a long time with not having a girlfriend, so there you go.
To the blueprint of his most famous creation.
That's one old Edward Scissorhands. You know, he took on many forms as drawing him.
It all reaches back to the Boneyard, his way of keeping Las Vegas's past present.
We used to sneak into where they kept the signs back in the 90s. It was on the other side of town, and they're beautiful, you know. To me, they're beautiful art.
What are you hoping people will feel from this?
Vegas to me is very dreamlike in a weird way. So the memories are like little snippets of dreams. You kind of do things, and it's all very personal, no matter what you do. So if you do connect with somebody, it's quite special.
Interesting trip into his mind there a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. He has a fascinating mind, and it all comes out through his art.
Yeah.
It's interesting he talks about it being therapy for him.
It is therapy. And if you listen to him and you watch his movies, you view his artwork, you see he's dealing with a lot. I wasn't able to break it all down.
Got a decent amount there. I mean, there's nobody else like Tim Burton.
That's true. Very unique. Michelle, good stuff.